Good evening, dear students. Welcome back. This is our second video regarding the poem Death Be Not Proud, a sixth poem prescribed for Bangalore North University, third semester BSc. I am Dr. Mangala kumari.B.S, Assistant Professor in English. Welcome back. In this video, as usual, we are clubbing two sessions, session 3 and session 4. Okay. And in session 3, the first part of the video, we are going to see Death Be Not Proud, the poem as a metaphysical poem, meaning and explanation of the poem, themes and images of the poem, poet's intention, and conclusive decision of the poem. Okay, so let me test your previous knowledge before we go to the core of the video. Why does the poet say death should not swell with pride? In the previous video, we saw that poet addressing death not to swell with pride. Okay, why does he say? Think about the answer. What elements is death compared to here? Okay, so we saw in the previous video that death is proved to be powerless, weak, right? And he's logically arguing throughout the poem, and he's proving that death is powerless and weak. Okay, so and next question is, what elements is death compared to? Death is compared to rest and sleep. Okay, so which are the copies of death, and they are more pleasurable than death. Okay, and what other things is death compared to? Charm and death is compared to charm and poppies, right? And what does death is forced to dwell with? Poison, war, sickness. Why does the poet call death a mere short sleep? It's a short sleep, a short moment, transitory moment, which transitions people who are dying into an eternal life. Okay, so that all we saw in the previous video. Students, now let us go to meanings and explanation of the poem Death Be Not Proud. As you've already seen, Holy Sonnet number 10 is always referred to as Death Be Not Proud. It's a part of a series known as John Donne's Holy Sonnets. They're also called as Divine Meditation. They're also called as Divine Sonnets. Three names are kept for the series of poems written by John Donne. Those three names are Holy Sonnets first, secondly, Divine Meditation, thirdly, Divine Sonnets. Okay, and in those series, one of the poem which is known as Holy Sonnet number 10, which is also referred to as Death Be Not Proud, is prescribed for you. And it is written by the English poet and Christian cleric John Donne in the year 1609. 1609 is the writing year of the poem Death Be Not Proud. It is first published in the year 1633. Okay, after approximately 30 years, the poem got published. The poem is a direct address to death as a person who is powerless. Okay, death is addressed as a person who is powerless. For the poet argues throughout the poem, the death acts as a short sleep between earthly living and eternal afterlife. Okay, why it is a short sleep? Why it is transitory, short period of time? Because it happens between the earthly living, what we are leading our life now. This is earthly living. After death, what is going to be seen by us is afterlife. Okay, between these two lives, the death happens. That is the shortest period of time. That is why it is called as short sleep. Such an elevated religious philosophic idea dealt by John Donne in this poem. In fact, death is nothing to fear. Okay, death is not at all fearful, according to the poet. But people find death scary, intimidating. Okay, people often find death scary and intimidating. In actuality, it is nothing to fear. In fact, death is neither mighty nor dreadful because people do not die actually. Okay, even the poet doesn't die when the death arrives. Okay, so we won't die actually when the death arrives. We go to the eternal life. That is the concept, religious concept, meditated on here in this poem. Continuing with that, the poet compares death to rest and sleep, two concepts, two phenomena, which are similar to it but are more pleasurable than. Okay, he expects more pleasure from death. When the best men die, they actually rest their body. Okay, so when they are dead, they are going to rest their body, physical body, their soul reaches the eternal world, that is of God. Hence, death is restful passage. Okay, it's a sojourn. It's a shortest period. It's a passage or a period between life on earth and life in God's world, which is eternal. He argues that death is of earthly things, depends on earthly things. Okay, death is depending on earthly things. Which are the earthly things? Like fate, chance, kings, desperate men, etc. Death is a slave to these things, which are the earthly. Okay, so in eternal life, it doesn't have power. Poppy seeds or poppy, intoxicating poppy, opium thing, okay, intoxicating thing. Charms, poppy are more impressive in giving rest to the people. They make people rest, they make people sleep. Okay, so death is inferior to this charm and poppy. Finally, death dies itself, dispelling its power. Okay, so it becomes powerless at the time of dying. Okay, so dear students, we have come to the end of the third session, first part of the video. In the first part of the video, what we saw, let me sum it up again. Holy sonnet number 10 is known as Death Be Not Proud by John Donne. It is a part of a series of holy sonnets, which are also called as divine sonnets. Okay, it is written in the year 1609 and published in the year 1633. It's a direct address to death by the poet. Death is powerless because it acts as a short sleep between earthly life and a heavenly life, afterlife. Hence, people actually don't die when death arrives. Death is compared to rest and sleep, poppy and charms. CHARMS, charms. Death is a slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Death is a slave to all these things. At the end, death dies itself. Okay, so now let us go to session 4. Here we are going to see Death Be Not Proud as a metaphysical poem once again, and critical appreciation of the poem we are going to deal with, and themes and images of the poem, a poet's intention, conclusive decision of the poem, a structure and figures of speech of the poem, complete meaning and analysis of the poem. All these things are going to be seen here in this later part of the video. So, and yeah, let's go to the critical appreciation. Critical appreciation of the poem, Death Be Not Proud. Death Be Not Proud is a sonnet. You all know it. Okay, it is a mixture of Petrarchan sonnet and Shakespearean sonnet. Okay, so it has Shakespearean sonnets pattern and Petrarchan sonnets rhyme scheme. Death Be Not Proud is a sonnet which is written in iambic pentameter. Iamb means it's a structure. Okay, it's a unit. Iamb is a unit. Okay, and Penta is 5 meter. Okay, let me tell you in detail. Iambic pentameter is a unit where we find one stressed syllable and one unstressed syllable. Okay, imagine students, suppose students, iambic pentameter is a unit where one stressed syllable occurs and the other unstressed syllable occurs. So first let me tell you what is syllable. Okay, syllable is a unit of pronunciation having one vowel sound or sorry, a syllable, let me repeat it. A syllable is a unit of pronunciation having one vowel sound compulsorily with or without consonant sounds. Okay, so consonant sound can come or cannot come. It can be with or without consonant sound, but vowel sound is compulsory in a syllabic unit. That unit is called as syllable. Okay, it's a unit of pronunciation, pronouncing unit. Syllable is a pronouncing unit where a vowel sound is compulsory with or without consonant sounds. Okay, that is syllable. I hope you have understood very clearly what is a syllable. Okay, and here such syllables, one and we I should also tell you what is stressed and what is unstressed. Stressed means, let me go back to the syllable again. Water. Okay, water, water, water. Water is a word where we see two syllables. Va is stressed syllable, ta is unstressed syllable. Water. Okay, va means we put more breath force on va. Ta, not much breath force. That is why va is stressed syllable, ta is unstressed syllable. Two syllables are there in one word, water. Okay, like that. So in that way, one stressed and the other one unstressed. Okay, like that, two syllables will be there. So this is a unit. Such units are happening in a line in poetry. Okay, for example, Death Be Not Proud, in that poem, if you take first line as an example, death be not proud, though some have called thee. Here in this line, in the first line, um, 5 units. Iambic penta. Penta means 5. Iamb means 1 unit. Okay, 1 unit of a meter. Okay, so such 5 units will come on in a line, right? So that is called iambic pentameter. Meter. Let me tell you the definition of meter. Meter happens in poetry. Poetic meter we are talking about here. It's a basic rhythmic structure. Meter is a basic rhythmic structure in a line of poetry. Okay, where number of 2 points are very important. First one, number of syllables. Second one, a pattern of emphasis. Okay, meter is a structure where number of it's a rhythmic structure. Of course, for rhythm we write poetry, we read poetry. Okay, we enjoy poetry, right? It's a rhythmic structure where number of syllables are important. A pattern of emphasis is also important. Two things will happen in meter. So here, number of syllables, how many? 2 syllables. One is stressed, the other one is unstressed. First stressed syllable will come, then unstressed syllable will come. Okay, such kind of meter. Okay, such meters, 5 meters will happen. That is pentameter in a line. Okay, so let me tell you again with the example, the first line. Okay, death be not proud. Death be 1 unit. Okay, one rhythmic structure, 1 meter. Okay, stressed and unstressed. Death is stressed, B is unstressed. Not proud, the second meter. Okay, though some, third meter. Have called thee, have called, yeah, some have, fourth meter. Called the fifth meter. Like that, pentameter, 5 meters will come. Iambic pentameter. Okay, in that way, the whole poem is written. Right? So remember students, Death Be Not Proud is a sonnet which is written in iambic pentameter. And iamb is a unit where stressed syllable um, uh, then comes unstressed syllable. Okay, unstressed syllable is followed by stressed syllable. Okay, sorry, preceded by stressed syllable. In that way, the poem which is referred to as Holy Sonnet number 10, which is a devotional lyric that looks life's biggest questions in the context of Donne's religious beliefs. Okay, so he's a cleric, right? He's a churchman, religious man, John Donne. And life's biggest question is dealt here in this poem. Okay, so death, afterlife. These are all biggest, most serious questions which are answered here in this poem. Like many of his poems, this also, Death Be Not Proud, also starts very boldly. Okay, so see, look at the first line. Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty dreadful. How bold it is. Don't be feel proud, O death, though some call you mighty dreadful. You are weak. How bold it is. Okay, and this is the major feature of John Donne's poetry. He always begins his poem with bold statement, with bold expression. Death is personified here. Another poetic device. Okay, it's personification is used here. Death is seen as a person. Okay, and as the recipient of the poem. Okay, he is being addressed. Okay, he is the addressed, the death, right? And it begins with apostrophe. Apostrophe is addressing. Okay, apostrophized. Death is apostrophized here. And he is also an intended listener. Death is an intended listener. Okay, you can look at the picture of on the slide. After death, the soul is getting relieved, deliverance of soul. Okay. And let us go to the next slide. It is Donne's uncomplicated, most famous, most anthologized poem. Death Be Not Proud is Death's uncomplicated, most famous, at the same time, most anthologized. Okay, it got published in a majority of his collections, anthologies collection. People look at death as final and fearful. Of course, we all were seeing death as fearful, final. That is the final. But poet treats this personified figure, death, as not worthy of O. O means fear. A-W-E. O is fear. Okay, it is not worthy of fear, but of contempt. Okay, it is weak. Death is weak, contemptible. The rest of the poem will prove it. John Donne charts a line of reasoning through different ideas in each quatrain. I've already told you it is a mixture of two sonnet forms, Petrarchan and Shakespearean sonnet form. According to Shakespearean sonnet form, it has been divided into quatrains. Okay, in each quatrain, John Donne charts a line of reasoning. He goes on giving reasonable answers, logical answers to all the questions. Okay, and he's going to prove logically that death is powerless. Death is wrong to feel proud. It is neither mighty nor dreadful. Poet says paradoxically, it thinks it can kill people, but no one will die. This is the paradox. Actually, see, death killing people, but no one is actually dying. These are the frequent paradoxes that we see, oppositions we see throughout the poem. According to the Christian belief, life after death is eternal. Even in Hindu religion, after death, life becomes eternal. Okay, we also believe in that way. And Christian belief is also that, okay, eternal life after death. This argument is proved by the rest of the poem very successfully. The poet again addresses death as poor. He pities it. Okay, he he feels compassionate towards death. In the third quatrain, he mocks at it. He makes fun of it, making fun of death. He mocks at death, saying that you are inferior to drugs and potions. Okay, drugs and potions, poppy and other things, intoxicating things. Potion means the liquid we take to get intoxicated. So the drugs and potions, poppy, all those things, intoxicating things, compared to death, are more pleasurable. And death is a slave to fate, chance, kings, desperate men, lives with, and it leaves with poison and sickness, war. In the couplet at the end, in the couplet, two-line stanza, he proves that he rounds it out. Okay, he sums it up. He gives a conclusive decision in the couplet. If afterlife is eternal, the moment a person dies, actually it is death that dies, not the people who die. Okay, so death which dies, not the people. Okay, so that is why death of death, another paradox. The poem ends with the another paradox. Um, yeah, which is the final idea of the poem here? The classic metaphysical moment where an established idea is turned upside down. Which is the established idea? Death is powerful, death is the final. That concept, that established idea is made upside down, topsy turvy. Okay, so opposite, he is going to prove opposite. And the death of death is sensible in light of Donne's point of view. Very sensible it is. Death of death. Okay. The poem is combination of Petrarchan and Shakespearean sonnet forms. Structure is Shakespearean. Rhyme scheme is Petrarchan. Okay. We won't see octave and sestet here. We see three quatrains and a couplet. That is structure of Shakespearean sonnet form. And rhyme scheme is Petrarchan rhyme scheme. Okay. So A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A, C, D, D, C, E, E. Okay. That is the Petrarchan rhyme scheme. Okay. So next, personification. Death is personified. It is treated as a person who has negative human traits like pride, pretense, inferiority. Okay, so death is made inferior. Death is addressed not to be proud, and death pretends to be powerful and dreadful, but actually not. So these are all the negative emotions which are always associated with a human personality. Here, death is made such a person. He is personified. And metaphor is also there. Metaphor in the sense, death is seen as a proud person. Death is also seen as a slave. It is metaphor, another poetic device. Okay, metaphor is death is a proud person. Death is a slave. Okay, this is metaphor. Irony is also used here, another poetic device, which is the irony here, ironically expressed, death thou shalt die. This is most ironic here. Death, thou shalt die. Old English words are used throughout the poem. In the next videos, I'm going to tell you which are the old English words used in the poem. Death, thou shalt die. In this line, I just say at the moment, thou is you, shalt is shall. Okay, death, you shall die. Death, thou shalt die. Death, you are going to die. Death of death. Okay, so these are the major things we saw in the later part of our video. Dear students, we have come to the end of the session. At the end, I am going to sum up. Sonnet is in iambic, penta, meter, starts boldly with apostrophe. Death is made as an intended listener, devotional lyric that looks at life's biggest questions in the context of Donne's religious beliefs. John Donne charts a line of reasoning in each quatrain. He mocks, pities death. The couplet rounds up the idea of death of death, the structure, form, and figures of speech we saw. Okay, so thank you very much for lending your attention and time. I'm going to end the video.